Welcome everybody, Christina Wolf here, and I'm really excited to be back for the weekly carpool party. We skipped last week and it was, I don't know, it felt like a really long time ago since we met up. And so I'm going to just sort of ramble a little bit till some people pop on. I'm gonna make some notes because I had some downloads here for our weekly update, you know. Because it's been kind of an intense weekend. Welcome if you're just coming on. Hey, Bridget. I'm just writing down some notes so I stay on topic with these updates that I had for the weekend for downloads. How's everything going? You like my beach waves? I did some new hair product in it. I'm still deciding if I like it. It's pretty unique. So I keep having these three things that I'm kind of getting a feeling like I'm supposed to be passing on to everybody, and I want to make sure I get them. Okay. How is your week going? If you're just popping on, say hi. I'm going to have to put my hair up, though, because this is distracting to me and hopefully won't be to you. Hair sticking out all over the place. Yeah, it's been really intense energy. I think a lot of that is at Uranus and Taurus. Frankly, I think Uranus is that like wild card, that abstract age of Aquarius kind of, you know, Uranus rules Aquarius, and Uranus is like everything that's up in our head, everything that's of the universe and not quite down here on Earth. But Taurus is a very Earth-centered sign, and you know, earthy as in like 3D here in the current state. It tends to not, you know, not have a lot of patience for that kind of fickle, airy-fairy feeling. And I feel like a lot of us are probably going through some things that we're just annoyed that we're going through them. Like, really, you're going to let this blow up in my face right now? Like, and just when I thought everything was going great. That's, surprise, Uranus energy. And oh my goodness, this hair, I don't know about this new product, because I think it's, instead of making me look like I have beach waves, it's making me look like a homeless person. But anyway, oh my goodness, last time I'm gonna mess with the hair and then I don't care what it looks like. Yeah, so like, especially, yay, Krista, welcome Bridget, and if you're just popping on, say hi. Let me know also what kind of card you want, animal or herbal tarot, and I'll put that down. And I do want to reiterate, I'm just so glad to be back this week, because that brings me to one of my first thoughts. When you're doing any kind of trauma recovery, if you're in the trauma response, you tend to have what's called dissociative thoughts, meaning when you're thinking them, you go to this place in time and space that isn't really in the here and now. And that's one of the things that things like EMDR, eye movement rapid desensitization, and NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, those processes, hey Bethany, welcome. Those processes tend to work so well for things like PTSD and complex PTSD, because PTSD and complex PTSD are associated with memories that were pretty much encoded or encrypted or filed in our body and our brain in a different way. And we tend to arrive at these traumatic memories a lot quicker and in a different way. Like we've built, and that's why talk therapy doesn't tend to work very well, because when you talk about it, you just sort of create stronger neural pathways to these traumatic thoughts that then take you off into back in that memory, back in that time and space, back when you're 4 years old, and that sort of thing. And when it's sort of like a glitch in the matrix, essentially, and you keep returning very quickly to these triggers, and when you get into these dissociative thoughts, you're in reactive mode, you're in the trauma response. And it's really hard to have self-awareness. It's really hard, like, example, you have abandonment issues and your partner does something that triggers that, and like, you get into this like extremely emotional state because you're having these dissociative thoughts. Your body's feeling the fear, the panic of abandonment. So you're carrying all of that with you to the current conversation, whether it may or may not really truly be an act of abandonment that's going on in your current situation. So you're carrying all these dissociative thoughts, things that took you away from the here and now to the here and now. And so while you're going through, when you set a conscious thought or intention to really embrace recovery and dig in, all of a sudden all of your shit just comes up. It just blows up in your face. And and that's when it's so important to not be reactive during your recovery process. And easier said than done, because when you're being reactive, you're in your body, you're not in your controlled mental state. That's when panic attacks come up. That's when like huge rage comes out of nowhere. This is the trauma response. And so one of the main reasons why many people who have been put on like antidepressants, they're afraid to get off of them because they're afraid to be in this reactive state. What do antidepressants do? They calm you down. They get you, to a more even state. And I think that's all well and good if you absolutely need that because you're feeling you just can't function. But at some point, I think that you may consider not taking some kind of mental health prescription. Of course, I'm not a doctor, and I will never advocate somebody going against doctor's orders, but I'm just saying, for me, I made the personal choice not to be on any kind of antidepressants. I didn't want to be numb. I didn't want to be numb to the feelings that were coming up. I wanted to be very conscious to what was going on. And there, around that, though, was a lot of fear, because when you do have panic attacks or you do have depression or whatever, you fear like the downward spiral. Kind of like this Uranus energy that's sort of like you fear stuff blowing up in your face and being in a reactive state. But that's why we do the things that we do, like being here every week doing these weekly card readings, because that brings me to my third thought that I think Spirit really wanted me to convey. Like, absolutely take care of yourself. Do the things you need to do to self-support while you make a conscious effort to dig into your recovery. What are self-supportive things? Anchoring habits like meditation, like weekly card readings. These card readings to me are really anchoring for me. It helps me set the tone for the week. It helps create that sense of community, which, by the way, those of us who are having these reactive, dissociative thoughts, we may not feel comfortable being like this in other people's presence, or it makes other people uncomfortable. So our tendency to isolate is huge. But the one way that you heal PTSD and trauma is to connect in a more affirmative way with others. So, if you need to heal the abandonment wound, you're not going to do it alone. I mean, you can do it alone, but you're healing yourself so that you can have more meaningful connections to others. So a lot of the healing takes place in how you are relating differently to other people. If you're not familiar with Lisa A. Romano's stuff, I find her work very helpful. Like, I had a really intense weekend. a lot of crap was coming up between me and my partner around control issues, and it really brought up old memories of my mother and feeling engulfed by my mother. And so one thing I want to convey before we get into the card reading is you may be experiencing stuff in the reactive mode right now. Consider it important data, okay? And then look at it with very neutral eyes. I had this, one of the anchoring habits that I have is regular shamanic journeying. As soon as I started, I mean, yesterday I just felt terrible. I had this like awful argument with my guy, and it really made me feel like really down. And so I went outside, I took my shoes off, I put my bare feet on Mother Earth and, you know, grounding or earthing, and that's an anchoring habit, okay? I felt really like almost immediate relief. And then another anchoring habit is, you know, doing the regular shamanic journey. If you do not have a drum or a rattle, you can easily find shamanic journey information on YouTube. Sandra Ingerman, I'm going to put her info in the comments here. Sandra Ingerman does an amazing little tutorial on how to do shamanic journeying on your own. Michael Harner, he has a wonderful drumming recording. Like, people on YouTube have put it on there. He does a drum solo, and these are the things that I listen to when I'm doing shamanic journeying. If I do shamanic journeying with my local shamanic group, usually the facilitator, Miss Olga, she'll be the one drumming while we're doing the journeying. So this video, the YouTube video, the sound of the drums or rattle, whatever, can take the place of, you know, a facilitator doing it for you. So you can easily do these things on your own. So as I'm journeying, I got lots of wisdom from, you know, my animal totems, you know, Brother Wolf, you know, and the spirit of Owl has been popping up for me a lot this week. So I'm probably going to revisit Owl. But Owl is one of those that's sort of misunderstood and yet revered. The goddess of Athena loved the owl. Owl represented wisdom. Look at knowledge, has the word owl in it. I thought that was cute. As I was looking up, what the hell does owl mean? Because in my shamanic journey, I witnessed this owl like pecking out my eyes. And I wasn't afraid, and I didn't think of it as a negative thing. I think it was like owl telling me, stop looking at the world through judgmental, 3D, here and now, like earth mores kind of ways of thinking. You need to go within and look at what's going on in your current life during this Uranus and Taurus shit blowing up in your face moment from this is important data. What is this knowledge teaching me? And I really realized that the argument that I had with my guy was indicative of a pattern my entire life, that I often engaged in relationships with people who would become very insecure whenever I exerted a sense of self. And that came from my relationship with my mother. And so I was like, this is spirit like letting stuff happen so that I can get a big picture of, okay, you have to re-feel or re-experience the original wound so that you can really truly start healing. You know, uncover your original wound by using these anchoring habits to help you get grounded. Because I really felt uncentered last night. I really felt like sad. I felt really down. I felt in a place of like, you know, in a tailspin. And yet these things, grounding, my shamanic journey, taking a nap, looking forward to being here, reaching out to friends, these are all anchoring habits. When I say anchoring habits, they're the thing that pulls you back to the here and now, that reminds you that you are not in that space, that helps you come back to center, that helps you feel grounded, that helps you feel okay, basically, realizing that you're still who you are in your, you know, absolute infinite perfectness, while witnessing and watching what's going on in your life, you know, as it's blowing up, because sometimes we can have very uncomfortable truths. And I think in this, while Saturn is in Capricorn. Saturn will be in Capricorn, I think, for, I don't want to tell you something false, but it's throughout this whole year, and I want to say it's for like a year and a half, okay, all through 2018. And for me, this was like a huge thing because I have a Capricorn rising sign, and so I'm really feeling the discomfort of Saturn in my life. Saturn is that thing that's like, you know what, you may have all these airy-fairy dreams, but guess what? You still got to pay your bills. You still got to have a job. You still got to take care of your responsibilities. There is the law, you know, like you might want to fly, but guess what? The law of gravity won't let you. It's those sort of like, you kind of ruined my mojo here. You know, I had these really lovely abstract dreams, but reality. But Saturn is one of those, once you learn the lessons, they are hard won, but they are amazing. You get so much from realizing your restrictions, turning your weaknesses into strengths, getting, you know, coming down to reality, basically. And so this is the context of where I'm having my own little recovery session. And so another thing why I mentioned Lisa Romano is she has an excellent video about not being reactive during recovery. And that is so, so important, because when you're feeling reactive, that means you're being triggered all over the place. It makes it really hard to get perspective. It's all about perspective. And that's why the anchoring habits, these weekly card readings, the, you know, ways that we check in with ourselves, way that we process all the crap that happened. How many of us are so busy that we have so much happening to us and we don't take the time to really process it and figure it out and, you know, come to some realization about what that meant for us. So definitely, if you can, post in the comments your anchoring habits that you know you do that gives you immediate relief. You know, like I said, for me, it's like earthing, also cold baths, that water energy is really helpful to me as well. I'm going to check the comments here to see who signed up for a card, and welcome if you're just popping on. Let's see what we got. Let's see. Bridget would like an animal card. Krista would like an animal. Shelly would like tarot. And Bethany would like an animal card. Okay, awesome. And like I said, I'm going to talk about owl. And it's really funny because a very good friend of mine that I reached out to, she has as we were talking, I noticed she had a big old owl tattoo on her shoulder. And I was like, oh, Spirit, you're so funny. Like, reach out to friends, people, you know, you need that anchoring perspective to get you out of your head if you're having a mini crisis or whatnot. So, all right, so just to recap, Bridget, Krista, and Bethany want an animal card, and Shelly wants the tarot card. Yeah, I love sage. I wish I could use it more often. It just, for me, it's like I reserve it for very intense like rituals, like the full moon rituals and the new moon. Oh, that's another thing. The new moon was in Sagittarius, and I'm being the Sagittarius. I had a wonderful time over the full moon. This most recent full moon was, oh my goodness. Some full moons affect me more than others, and I don't know if you guys have that effect or have had that experience yourself. But yeah, Epsom salt baths, absolutely. Like there's something very grounding about Epsom salt in water. So as we're talking, I felt like I just wanted to really convey that, like, Spirit was like, you know what, you learned all this crap this weekend for a reason. Like, you need to pass this on. I'm going to pull these cards and open up some sacred space. Jaguar was really, really prominent in my shamanic journey. Always be impeccable. That's the wisdom of Jaguar. Always be impeccable. Impeccable meaning strongly in your integrity, and you know what that means for you. You know, and there's going to be many as you recover from, you know, any kind of childhood trauma. There's a lot to talk about your identity. Your identity is formed around your relationship with your primary caregivers, and if that didn't work out well, you may have some attachment issues related to how you feel about yourself. And so Jaguar is all about having a very strong sense of self, knowing who you are. And I think that anyone who is embarking on a recovery from childhood trauma really needs to use Jaguar to your advantage. A wonderful animal totem to have. So let's start with the winds of the east. As always, we thank Eagle Condor for your bird's eye view, for the great void, the place that is of germination and the start of all new seeds underground, the void of all creation, like the womb of the universe. We thank you so much for giving us the springtime of our life and the place of the rising sun, this fire energy, this starter energy. We thank you so much for your support and for being here with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's call in the winds of the south. Brother Snake, as always, so humbly traveling along the earth in such a easeful way. You let just everything happen to you, come, you know, fall off of you like water on a duck's back. You just move through everything in life so smoothly, so easily, and you let yourself shed all the old ways that no longer serve you. We thank you so much for this earth energy, for the ability to shed that old skin, to move smoothly through life and be resilient. And we thank you for the summer of our lifetime, the here and the now, for the noontime of our life. We thank you so much. Thank you for that. And now the winds of the west. Brother Jaguar, as we talked about impeccability, this is the fall of our lifetime. This is water energy. This is our emotions. This is the setting sun, the place where we harvest all the lessons of our lives through the rites of the passages that we go through, these uncomfortable truths that we come through. We call on Brother Jaguar for his tenacity, for his impeccability, for his integrity, for showing us how to own uncomfortable truths and to navigate through murky waters, basically, and to really appreciate all of the things that we go through and to understand their spiritual lessons. We thank you, thank you, thank you. And then we call upon the winds of the north to spirit of caribou, spirit of elk, and spirit of hummingbird. Hummingbird being lightness of being, the Sami of energy, very light, very giving, the nectar of the world, the nectar of life, basically. This is also where our ancestors come from. All of our DNA, everything that our ancestors lived through and went through, and the DNA of their life and their memories, all lives in us as we come into the here and the now. And we thank you so much for all of those things, that we are so precious, that we are here because they existed. We are here to represent them. And we thank you, thank you, thank you for your wisdom, air, energy, helping us move through so many thoughts. And then we will thank Mother Earth, as always, for her grounding nature, for being the big womb that allows us to live and to give us life and security. And for me, that immediate grounding, the earthing energy. And we give you so much love for supporting us in so many ways. I am so ever grateful. We are so ever grateful to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then to Father Sky, infinite possibilities. Thank you for watching over us, Great Spirit, for being our creator, for being the place from which we are all from, and for allowing all of our Star Nation brothers to watch over us, to keep us in high regard as we do the same for you, and to be the mystery of the universe that we don't know yet. So we thank you for all of that. And as always, Grandmother Moon and Grandfather Sun, in your partnership and how you teach us how the cycles of life really bring us so much joy and relief and so many lessons. And we thank you for your constant ability to give us anchoring, to remind us that this too shall pass, to remind us that the sun will always rise and Grandmother Moon will always comfort us at night. And to all of our spirit guides and archangels and animal totems, any benevolent light beings or energy that you call upon that gives you strength to walk this life. So we thank you so much for all of that as we come together. And I'm so grateful to all of you for joining me and sharing this space and this community. And so as I am shuffling these cards, I'm going to infuse all of that gratitude into this. And I want to convey too that you can go through like this ridiculous event and have some very intense energy, and just know, just like Grandmother Moon, Grandfather Sun, that like you can move past that and find the most joyous moments later. So as you're going through uncomfortable things, just know that don't be reactive. Just observe as you're feeling these intense feelings, and don't try to shove them away or suppress them. Just let them bubble up to the surface. If you need to, take a bubble, imagine a bubble and blow that intense feeling or energy into the bubble and let it go, and thank, Father Sky for receiving it and transmuting it into wisdom. It's just so many ways to move energy out of your body. When you get that really intense feeling, I think the panic starts when you feel like, oh my God, I'll never get rid of this feeling. And that's when people start doing things like cutting, and kids who cut very rarely, I don't want to say they're not suicidal, but it gives them temporary relief. And so we'd like to have more healthy anchoring habits. So as I am keeping in mind all of the people who are maybe in that state where they're feeling panicky and they don't know how to bring themselves back to center, let's send them love. Let's send them, the ability to find community, to find connection, to find anchoring habits, and to know that this too shall pass. So I'm going to cut the deck now. I think like Spirit's really wanting me to know, like, lots of people right now have decided to be brave and to feel a lot of feelings that they'd never let themselves feel before, because they trust the process. They're trusting that they're going to get taken care of. They're trusting that on the other side of going through this muck is some amazing states of being. And so I feel like we all get it. That's why we're here. So thank you again. I'm really so grateful for you guys to be in this space with me. So this is the card for Monday, Tuesday. Let me pull another one. Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you're enjoying this, give me some like love, some hearts, something. Okay. Monday, we have Three of Swords. Yay! Three of Swords. Pleurisy root. Okay, pleurisy. Okay. Does anybody know what pleurisy is? Okay, pleurisy is an inflammation of the lining of your lungs, okay? And so your lungs are the thing that allows you to inhale life and exhale what you don't want. It's the ability to take in and receive abundance. And it's also this, your lungs are also the seat of your grief and holding on to grief. And I think pleurisy makes it painful to go through the process of asking for what you want and releasing what you don't want. And so pleurisy root helps reduce the inflammation of that. And I think that already this is a way to support yourself. It's saying support yourself as you're going through some painful feelings, through some painful processes. So 3 of Swords. Sword energy being air energy. Air being like your lungs, taking in, letting go. People who have a lot of unresolved grief tend to either manifest things like emphysema, COPD, lung cancer. That's why generational trauma, like if you have illnesses that run in your family, like cancers, lung cancers, pneumonia, chronic pneumonia, it's because we have that trapped grief in our lungs. So pleurisy root, again, is there to support your journey and to relieve some of the pain as you release grief. And a lot of people hold on to grief and keep it numb because they're afraid to feel it as it's leaving. Because when you feel it as it goes in, you got to feel it as it comes out. And so it's like lately, you know, it's been like, oh man, these are the messages I'm getting, and it's really heavy. But if you're holding on to a lot of heavy stuff, you will feel so much lighter when you finally let it go. Finally let it go. So 3 of Swords. I'm flipping through this page here, looking for the Swords section, but I think Spirit really has a lot to say this week about really supporting yourself as you're feeling a lot of crap, okay? Krista says, I have to use crystals for anchoring. Yep. Yes, crystals are amazing. And you know what? It's funny you said that. I felt really called to pull my blue kyanite off of the my little altar thingy over here. Blue kyanite is fantastic for absorbing negative energy, toxic energy. It's one of the few crystals that does not hold onto a negative charge. It's excellent for your thyroid. I usually sometimes hold it literally directly on my thyroid. Your throat chakra being one of the few places that you bring your will about. Like as I'm doing this, I feel like almost immediate relief. So, and then I have certain rocks. I think this is like kind of a rose quartz, but with like, it's kind of a real rough one. Rose quartz, I'm really called to rose quartz, but this one, for some reason, every time I hold it, it just reminds me just like that love of the world, like the infinite love of Creator. Like just find that space. So let's think on that for a minute. Yes, crystals are amazing. Okay, so 3 of Swords. This is Monday, Tuesday. Pleurisy root. 3 swords pierce the heart, which is surrounded by dark clouds. There's a need to heal past relationships and shattered ideals, like childhood trauma. Yes, they are both very healing. I love them. So, sadness, depression, and memories of difficult separations are in one's thoughts and need to be released. As we were saying, right? The seeds falling from the plant and the parting of the clouds convey the possibility that since the pain is now being dealt with, one will be able to create a vision for a new beginning. Yes, keep that vision in mind. Like you're not just going through all this mess so you can feel like crap forever. No, at the end of this is the vision for feeling good and having really good relationships with other people because you're relating to your, self better. So the seeds falling from the plant and the parting of the clouds convey the possibility that since the pain is now being dealt with, one will be able to create a vision for a new beginning. A better balance will soon be reached. A better balance will soon be reached. That's important. Learning how to relate to others without losing oneself is important. Yes, this many times, if you are one who was either abandoned or had a parent smother you, you have that abandophobia, that fear of abandonment or fear of engulfment. And engulfment can be just as traumatizing as being abandoned because you don't even know how to be yourself. You're too busy taking care of other people's feelings. And so this is saying, learn to know yourself. This may be a time to become more objective toward the emotions. Again, that bird's eye view. Don't be reactive during recovery. Use those anchoring habits to let you just observe from, you know, as the owl like pecked my eyes out. You know, stop looking at it through like current eyes. Look at it through the intuitive self eyes, okay? On the other hand, one must be careful not to use the mind to sort out the emotions. Because, yes, don't use, that's what I mean, like pecking out the eyes. Don't use your mind's eye, you know, the 3D mental, logical way of thinking to try to sort these things out, because they didn't get imprinted, they didn't get encoded in logical ways. All this pain or whatever. Pain is a very internal process. It's a very internal, feminine, intuitive process. So we need this, men and women, we need this ability to, yeah, don't overthink it, exactly. Don't overthink it, let yourself feel it from a very visceral, like in the body sense. That's the other thing. I'm really working on doing some embodiment exercises, feeling the emotions in your body. When you're disconnected from your body, you are all up in your head. Let yourself get down into your body. Some of us haven't gotten to know our body in a very long time. We've disassociated from it. We've hated on it. We've, you know, become numb to many things. You know, but anyway, that's a whole nother, I guess, session, if you will. So let's get back to this. On the other hand, one must be careful not to use the mind to sort out the emotions, ending up in constant self-analysis and introspection. There is a need for balance between the emotions and the mind. Again, when you get like way off on this downward spiral as you're, you know, feeling some really intense emotions, teach yourself these anchoring habits to bring yourself back, to remind yourself like who you really are, and to not get into such a panicked state. So the balance is there. The need for balance is totally evident here. So this can best be accomplished through the use of herbs, meditation, and affirmations. Yeah, herbal tea. Don't discount herbal tea, like chamomile tea when you're overthinking stuff. Just the process of being mindful as you're preparing yourself a cup of tea. That could be self-care. That could be like, I'm taking care of myself. I am aware I'm thinking negative thoughts and it's not making me feel good, so I am very intentionally thinking other thoughts. That's an act of self-care. So when you use herbs, meditation, and affirmations, the intention is to care for the self, to help you move these feelings out of you. Counselors and good listeners that work with people who are emotionally distraught with heartbreaks and trauma must learn to be more detached, or their sympathies may get them embroiled with others' feelings, making their counsel less effective. Again, that bird's eye view, do this for yourself. Do this for yourself. Like, hey, you know what? I noticed I get really triggered every time my partner works too much because I feel that this means such and such for me. But as you observe, you're not stuck in that reactive state. You're just like, I have this pattern, and now I'm recognizing it. I can feel the feelings, I can recognize that feeling, and I see the pattern. So pleurisy root, many times it says grief and sadness becomes stuck in the lungs and manifests as congestion and phlegm. Sometimes if you get into an argument, you'll blow up with a huge cold. I find anytime I'm harboring really resentful thoughts or feelings, my sinuses get crazy congested. Because what are sinuses? Sinuses are space. And what have you chosen to fill that space with? Negative, toxic thought, right? So you're creating inflammation in your sinuses with this toxic way of thinking. So as soon as I start feeling really congested, I'm like, what thoughts am I having that are leading to this inflammation here? Pleurisy root as an herbal essence may help to relieve old emotions that need digesting and clearing out. Deep breathing and fresh air will also help. Pleurisy root is an expectorant, something that makes you cough. A diaphoretic causes sweating, and a diuretic eliminates water, and a carminative. What I understand a carminative is it creates heat from within. It has been used for coughs, wheezing, flu, colds, pleurisy, and other lung problems. It relieves gastritis due to slow digestion. So when you create heat from within, this can be a good thing if you have sluggish meridians or energy in the body. Heat from within is like your husband has a sinus infection. Right? Yeah, I mean, to me, it's whenever I start getting irritated with others. Irritation with someone close to you, really. Yeah. So, and I learned the art of resentment from my nuclear family. So to me, like family closeness, whatever, that equates to total dysfunction. So, and surprise, surprise, sinus problems run in our family. So yeah, my grandmother had like chronic sinus issues. She had to have her septum operated on. So as we're going through this, pleurisy root really helps sort of loosen up that stagnant congestion. And if you look at that congestion as energetic congestion in your lungs, grief is just sort of stuck and heavy. It feels like a big rock hanging in there. And as you're loosening it up and as it's coming out, don't fear how it's going to feel as it's exiting, because you will relive some of that grief as you're releasing it. But just keep imagining letting it go, letting it go, letting it go. So freeing, keywords for pleurisy root is freeing oneself from past pains and heartbreaks, working to help others find release from the past. And again, this Uranus and Taurus energy is a lot of that. But I thought I dealt with this crap. And I'm going through that too. Like, oh my God, like, why do I keep hanging on to this stuff? Like, I thought I dealt with it. I thought I let it all go in, the full moon in Scorpio. Everything's like cyclical. So just don't give yourself a hard time if it's coming up again for you. It just means that maybe now Spirit's like, hey, now you know better. Let's see what you do better. So the affirmation for Monday, Tuesday, really, I'm telling you, support yourself as you're releasing grief. And affirmation is, I allow the emotional pain to leave me. My heart is one with the divine. So I can't imagine, that just sounds lovely. Like a heavy weight lifted off of you. So let's move on to Wednesday, Thursday. Woo! Usually whenever you release something, it makes space for something important, something new. And we have with us the High Priestess, one of my favorites, the Peony. And of course, a major arcana. So this is all about a new way of being, a new sense of identity. The High Priestess embodies the pure power of the feminine receptive principle. Feminine receptive principle. We have a lot of women in our culture who do not know how to receive. We're taught, and it's not our fault. We're taught by society to shut off our feminine ability to receive. She is in touch with the universal mind. She has had many names in her past, and at one point was none other than the ancient Egyptian goddess Isis, who was able to give life to the god Osiris after his death. Thus, around her neck is the sacred Ankh, the key of life. She was also the Virgin Mary, who continued within herself the seed of spirit to be manifested on earth. Her left foot rests on the crescent moon, symbolizing her dominion of and oneness within her reflection in the natural cycles of life. I think this is a reminder that we're meant to feel good, okay? We're not meant to be carrying around that heavy weight, and that this is our reward for releasing and doing the work, okay? This is always available to us if we don't hang on to the crap in our life, okay? This is a natural state for us to be receptive, to be receiving, to be worthy of feeling good, okay? Her left foot, like I said, her left foot rests on the crescent moon, symbolizing her dominion of and oneness with inner reflection and the natural cycles of life. So know that maybe you're feeling a little down, but tomorrow you can feel good. The beginning of the week, you might be processing some crap. The middle of the week, it's things starting to look up, okay? With the enthroned between the two pillars of light and dark, she's in a state of silent equilibrium. With a veil over her eyes, she is mute, looking within to the subconscious, in other words, to the consciousness that resides behind all the outer manifestations. Like when I had the owl peck my eyes out. This is that subconsciousness. Know that place. She knows there is a uniting consciousness behind all aspects of life. The blue color of her garment and the clouds in the sky are indicative of the watery element over which she reigns. Water is the source of life in that it contains all the thoughts and substances needed for life's expression. I love that. Water is the source of life. Yeah, because where do we live? In the womb, in a bunch of water. And that germinative place where the original seed grows, that's where all thoughts and substances are needed for life's expression. Through our own inner high priestess, we are able to tap into our potential creativity and are better able to understand how all aspects of our life are united. Okay, so peony root helps to foster and harmonize the feminine energy within. So usually when we're full up on what we don't want, it's really hard to understand what we do want and what we want to fill up with. And to have an energetic vessel that's, I don't want to say strong enough to hold, but has been strengthened to hold, because we always have the capacity to hold more, to receive more. It's just a matter of what we allow ourselves. And peony root helps to foster and harmonize the feminine energy within. It allows the circulation of our subconscious to flow and move, thus enabling us to get in touch with our essential nature. So what really is your essential nature? And I can tell you right now, it's not your trauma response. Underneath all of that, any story you've been telling yourself about like why you don't have what you want or whatever, that's all story. Once you put that down, once you release the weight of that, who are you underneath that? Let yourself explore this, okay? Let yourself explore, what would it look like if I was feeling good, if I was receiving all that I wanted? Let yourself enjoy wanting what you want. That can be sometimes tricky, letting yourself want what you want. So, or admitting you want what you want. Through its relaxing anti-spasmodic action, a sense of ease permeates one's being as one explores these realms. So peony root's very relaxing, puts you into that allowing state. I know this sounds kind of weird, but think about like a cervix opening. That's a very feminine process of getting ready to give birth, right? And a lot of women like me, I struggled really. I had to have pain meds. I had to have lots of drugs push me through this process. And I really truly believe it was because I was not in a lot of allowing feminine energy. Letting the process happen. Allowing myself to receive and open to the universe. And what I was able to create. So a woman who uses this herb on a regular basis will learn how to accept and work with the metamorphosis she goes through from childhood, puberty, motherhood, menopause, and then the wise crone. Think of like, Brother Snake and how he flows through life. Just anything that comes in his path, he's just, I would say she's moving through it easily. That's feminine energy. That's allowing, oh, there's a rock in my way, move around it. I don't need to smash it or move through it. Just go around it. That's that energy. The beautiful peony flower has a vibration of softness, yet deep vitality, which is indicative of the basic yin, or feminine energy, from which all of life receives its foundation. Meditations with a flower or with a picture of the flower can help one to embrace the high priestess within. Men who are yearning to understand their softer, intuitive sides may partake in this wonderful herb as well. Peony root is commonly used in Chinese herbalism, together with other female herb tonics such as Nong Kai, false unicorn root, And raspberry leaf, I'm going to have to find some false unicorn root. That sounds neat. Raspberry leaf is very good for the womb. It's a tonic for the womb, meaning it strengthens it, allows it to be more resilient, to open up, to go back to its original state. If peony is consumed for a long period of time, it is said to add vigor to the body, lengthen life, restore and balance the liver, and make the skin radiant and beautiful. So carrying a piece of the root in a pouch will help remind the wearer to be in tune with their inner knowing. So after you go through a bunch of crap this, Monday and Tuesday, just sort of processing and releasing it, come to this place of inner knowing, of appreciating yourself for doing this process. Really just yeah, I'm a freaking badass. I've been through a lot of shit, and I'm here, I'm still alive, and I'm smiling, So really understand that. Inner knowingness, inner appreciation for the ways that you're moving through life. Keywords are exploring the subconscious, looking for the why behind the manifestations, mystery, inner knowing. I open my heart to the answers that lie within me. I see the perfection and unity of all things. So like, even if you feel like you're eating a shit sandwich right now, see the perfection and unity of all things. Because for some reason it's happening for you. Okay? Happening for you. All right, so let's move to Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 9 of Wands. We've got some fire energy going on here, which is good. Bayberry bark. Lots of roots and bark this week. 9 of Wands. 9 of Wands. The warrior sits beneath the tree, staff in hand, while 8 other staffs present a barrier of opposition in the not-too-distant horizon. Unable to vanquish his foes, he also remains unvanquished. Thus, the card signifies a formidable opposition or condition presenting itself in your life. Watchfulness is of the utmost importance as you avail yourself of the opportunity to gather your reserves and prepare for an impending confrontation. This can mean several things. What I see it as, maybe you come to some realizations and you're afraid to confront the situation because you're worried that it will cause more pain, it will cause more discord, but look at the big picture. If you stay in a situation that's compromising the self, at the end of the day, you're just going to perpetuate more pain. So this is saying, really pay attention. Watchfulness is of the utmost importance as you avail yourself of the opportunity to gather your reserves. Pick your battles. Like, is whatever it is that's coming up, is it a deal breaker for you? After you've done all of this work this week, coming to your inner knowing, and you're like, you know what? I've come to the realization that I'm no longer putting up with this crap because I refuse to feel bad anymore. This is just an example. What's going on here? What do you need to do? You don't need to necessarily throw the baby out with the bathwater, but you need to be consistent, okay? The card also serves as a reminder that more often than not, we are our own worst enemy. So we may throw the baby out with the bathwater. We may have a partner where we butt heads on something and we want to set up a boundary, but it doesn't mean we need to throw away the whole relationship. The nature of any confrontation may challenge and distract us from knowledge of self. So then you can get caught up in a bunch of drama, and that creates a lot of meaning making. Don't let yourself be reactive in those moments. Just state what you need and then move along. The other person does not necessarily have to agree with you. In fact, for the most part, if you're having a conflict with somebody, their intention is not to agree with you. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, that's right, what you're saying makes perfect sense, and I will reserve my own sense of self by completely throwing away what I thought and agree with you. So just understand that if somebody is oppositional to you, when you confront them about something, Don't take it as you're not right or they're wrong, or it's just that you have your thought and they have their thought. Okay? And I'm telling myself this too. Okay? Success in dealing with such experiences, therefore, is to seek a greater knowledge of self. Maybe you're going to learn a lot by just sitting back, observing, not reacting, state what you need, and then if they want to react and carry on, you don't have to react and carry on. Strength is found when one takes the opportunity to reflect on the inner state which predisposed one of the present conflicts. A dear friend of mine was telling me when she was going through therapy with her husband, her therapist told her, when you come home and you're looking at his state, like what mood he's in, to determine how the rest of your evening's going to go, don't do this. Instead, take a quick break, go in the restroom, and look at your own face and determine from your own face how your night is going to go. And I was like, wow, that's pretty profound information. Start taking cues from yourself about how things are going to go. So if you know, like, oh, I know that this situation plus me in it equals disaster, how about we remove ourselves from the situation? Or, you learn to react a different way. It may feel like stopping horses in midstream, but this is what Spirit's doing when it keeps presenting the same situations to you over and over again. It gives it to you until you get the lesson. It gives it to you until you do something different, and basically a need met goes away. So this card may also represent a time of feeling most whole, balanced, and grounded. Sometimes, as I was talking about, feeling engulfment as a young child from a parent or a caretaker who's really codependent or enmeshed with you, we tend to attract partners with their very similar dynamics because it's familiar. And whenever we do assert a sense of self, this creates confrontation. And sometimes after you've created the confrontation and you're worried about being abandoned because, oh my goodness, I'm the one, every time I compromise myself, things work, allow yourself to be in that space where you don't do anything to fix it. That's what they mean by whole, balanced, and grounded. State what you need and then expect that you don't have to do the work to overfunction and fix it for the other person. You're just stating what you want. Not necessarily just the other person, maybe like a situation at work where it's a group dynamic. It could be anything, okay? Due to the place of inner power cultivated within, there may be a feeling of great inner strength and an ability to see a conflict for what it is and not feel unduly threatened by it. So as soon as, for example, if you're worried about being engulfed, you would react to maybe a partner's insecurity and controlling behavior in a really huge way. Because to them, they're just asserting their own insecurities, but to you, you're feeling threatened. Your own sense of self is being threatened. And so this is saying, witness what's going on with them, and then don't be threatened by it. Just understand, if you're really truly in your power and you're not giving it away, they can't diminish your sense of self, okay? So this herb, bayberry bark, will strengthen and coalesce reserves in the face of adversity and opposition. Especially if you need to assert a sense of self for a little while, you're going to have some opposition. People don't like change. They don't like when you threaten their sense of self, okay? Areas of inner conflict and self-invalidation will be made more visible, and the energy of attracting conflict toward the self will be lessened. Bayberry bark combines both warm, stimulating, and drying astringent properties. It is used to inhibit or slow all abnormal discharges, including abnormal mucus discharge. So it's funny, we've got pleurisy, which is at the beginning of the week, telling you to rev up your energy, let it out. And now this is saying, nope, let's reel it in. Again, the cycles of life, right? Things like mucus discharge from the sinuses and lungs, diarrhea, bleeding, and excessive menstrual bleeding. If you're feeling a lot of, me, before I had an actual endometrial ablation, I would bleed like crazy. Women who have very heavy menstrual periods, they have a tendency to give away their power and their energy. They're just literally, it's life bleeding out, essentially. And Bayberry Bark is saying, pay attention to the conflicts that you're creating or that you're willing to engage in, because especially if you're dealing with a narcissist or someone who is absolutely guaranteed meant to disagree with you, their whole point is to be oppositional to you, just don't even get into the argument with them. Just say, I respect that you feel that way, and move along. And one of the things Lisa A. Romano, in one of her videos I was listening to, she would say the phrase, I hold on to myself. I hold on to myself. And I think that's really important here. Bayberry Bark has that essence of, I hold on to myself. I'm not giving away my power. I'm not letting it bleed out. And women like who have like dysfunctional womb situations going on, this is that ability to hold on to the self. Like, I choose not to engage and give away my power, my energy in this way. So, key words: fortification, holding off, suspicion, feeling of wholeness, affirmation, I feel inner balance and groundedness, I hold on to myself, I face any opposition with peace and understanding. All right. So, for the overarching energy of the week, the Eight of Cups. We've got some water. You know, it was pretty good. We had some air energy, we had the High Priestess, we had fire energy, and now we got water energy. And it is gravel root, which I am not familiar with, but it sounds abundant. Look at all those water cups. Let's see what we have here. Lots of roots and bark this week. Which, when we think about it, what do roots and bark do for a tree? They're the thing that creates structure, right? It's the thing that holds it up and supports it. And that's totally in line with what we were saying about creating these self-supporting habits. So, Eight of Cups. A person is embarking on a journey into the night. The moment has come when one realizes that further progress can take place only after the lessons have been carried deep into the mysterious night of the subconscious. So, that's about right. Essentially, it's a rite of passage for you. Dark night of the soul. You're going through something that, don't try to deflect it or numb it. Really sit with the stuff that's going to go on for you, the emotions that come up. Don't try to push them away or suppress them. Journal them out. Feel them to their extent and let them go. Don't hold on to them, right? So everything that we're going through this week, it's basically saying, if you do the work, you're going to up level, essentially. So that's that mysterious night of the subconscious. Such moments can appear to be a retreat or an escape, though on closer examination, they're a way to coalesce one's powers. We can be very much in our heads. We can be very much like physically efforting. We feel like we have to be doing something to be up-leveling. But this is saying no. The way you do you get to the next level is, maybe through some inspired action, yes. Maybe setting some boundaries, maybe doing a few things, like you've picked your battles, made them count, but then let it all assimilate. Let essentially the mysteries of the universe, your subconscious, let the new programming settle in and, for lack of a better term, assimilate. I don't know how else to put it. The card is under the influence of the waxing moon, signifying growth and expansion. Do not be afraid to leave old emotional baggage behind, but realize the perfection in the lessons learned. New shores await you. Sometimes when we can't let shit go, it's because it's giving us an emotional payoff. And we got to get real with ourselves about why we need that emotional payoff. And when we no longer need it, then we're going to finally be able to let it go. Okay, new shores await you. There's something better for you out there, trust me. Especially if what you're holding on to is keeping you in a state of resentment, keeping you in a state of, I never got what I needed, or whatever story about why you're in a state of lack. New shores await you. You can change your story, you know, and let it be one of wholeness and abundance. Gravel root helps to loosen up solidified emotions and feelings and allows them to be free-flowing and fluid. A sense of relief will be felt as this begins to occur. I see a pattern here. Really dig in and get some of that old crap out. Gravel root relieves excess water from the body and is a tonic to the kidneys and bladder. If there is frequent or nighttime urination, gravel root will diminish the frequency of urination while increasing the volume. It is commonly taken, oh, by the way, the bladder, when you think about being pissed off, it's literally, we hold a lot of anger in our bladder, okay? If you're somebody who has an overactive bladder, if you're somebody who feels like you have to pee 27 times a night, ask yourself, am I holding on to some anger? Am I pretty pissed right now? And how can you transmute that anger so that you're not, quote, I don't want to say punishing your body, but you're feeling the discomfort in your body, and your body's giving you that important data. All right, so gravel root will help you address some of that, especially if you're getting like kidney stones. It's commonly used to help dissolve and expel the stones from the urinary tract. Anyone who's ever experienced a kidney stone, they're probably as painful as giving birth, because it's essentially like a big object going through your ureter, and it's really uncomfortable. And they represent calcified anger, like you just held on to it for so long, it stays in the body, and as it's coming out, it's hurting you. So what's that saying? I don't know if I would attribute it to Buddha, but staying angry at somebody else is like eating the rat poison trying to kill the rat. You're the one hurting with all that anger stuck in you, okay? So call on gravel root for that, to break up some old anger, to break up some of that old resentment, that old energy. And this can be long-standing patterns. Like, you know, I came to the realization, like, I resent the shit out of anybody controlling me whenever I asserted a sense of self. And that had a lot to do with my mom growing up. My mom, bless her, I love her, you know, but these are, you know, you may be experiencing patterns in your life right now that have a lot to do with how you were, you know, you may have stuffed these feelings. It's in your subconscious, but whatever big incidents blowing up in your face right now is there to show you, if you have the bird's eye view, the big pattern. So to enhance the process of loosening up stuck and solidified emotions, take the herbal essence or carry some of the root in a pouch. Again, you don't necessarily need to go online and order all this stuff. You can, you know, write the words out, just the intention of having it, put it in a pouch, a medicine pouch, and hold it close to your heart. Just thinking about it here, you know, wow, the essence of that, that's wonderful. Like, I can use that every time I think about how pissed off I am about XYZ. You know, I'm going to think about gravel root. I'm going to go get a picture of it, print it out, and meditate on it. And like, I'm going to think, I'm watching this dissolve the energy. The energy of this, the essence of this plant is going to help me move this pissed off energy in my body. That's how you apply the essence of these herbs. And of course, beautiful earth energy, because all the plants are sustained by Mother Earth. And, you know, again, such gratitude for Mother Earth. Visualize yourself in the boat depicted on the card and feel the joy and hope moving within you as you leave the old shores and make way for new lands. What a great analogy. You're out on the open sea. Might be a little scary, but oh my God, the adventure. For medicinal purposes, make a standard decoction using approximately 2 tablespoons of the herb to 2 cups of water and gently boil it, covered for about 20 minutes. Take 3 cups per day. If the tincture is used, Take 30 to 60 drops 3 times per day. The keywords are leaving old emotions behind. You might have some go-to emotions, feeling resentful, feeling butthurt about whatever. You don't have to be in that pattern anymore. My guy would joke around and say, you know, you remind me of Lucy from Peanuts. And I'm like, that's lovely. You know, you're being Lucy-ish right now. If that's an old emotional pattern, then you get to leave it behind. It doesn't have to define you, okay? So moving deeply inward to reevaluate the emotional situation. New shores are waiting. So the affirmation is, I acknowledge past emotions and make way for the new rejuvenated self to be revealed. Like, this is the end goal of why we're doing all this inner work. I make way for the new rejuvenated self to be revealed. That's the point, right? You know, we're not doing this to punish ourselves, to feel like crap, whatever. We're getting rid of it so we can feel good, okay? So, while I have the herbal deck out, I'm going to draw the card for Shelly. All right, Spirit. What do we got? This one decided it wanted to come out. Ooh, suspended person. Let's see. Take a drink here. This is for Shelly. Okay. Kelp is the herb or plant. A young person hangs upside down in the divine ocean of life. Her or his head and arms form the equilateral triangle known as the water triangle. Her usual fiery and exuberant nature in life has been reversed, and she is still. The hands which govern the outside world are behind the back for now. For now, she is working on the inner faculties. So this is telling you to get still. You got a lot of stuff to assimilate, and maybe you don't need to take a whole lot of action right now. You're putting it all together. You've gathered a lot of data from your emotions. You gathered a lot of data from your inner subconscious workings, and it's time for you to just get still, let it all assimilate. The pants are blue, signifying the quieting of the sexual procreative impulses, or those impulses that stimulate further endeavors and creations involving the outside world. Maybe you need to pull back and disconnect. Like, it's not necessary for it to create intimacy with others right now. It'll maybe detract from intimacy with yourself. The green jacket represents healing and rejuvenation within. It's just a good time to go inside and hibernate. And, you know, the suspended person ruled by Neptune is learning the art of self-realization and inner quietude in order to go beyond the illusion that we as individuals are the managers of the universe. She has a sense of the divine wisdom and essence that guides and unites all the cosmos, from molecules to plants, animals, stars, and planets. Maybe you can meditate on just being. Like going outside, just staring at clouds passing by, and you don't need to do or see, you know, do anything other than to just be. You know, think about your cells are completing these tasks and missions in your body to keep you in homeostasis without you even having to do a darn thing. Your fingernails are growing just because there's divine life force flowing through you. Just think on that. This concept cannot be grasped in the mind. It is a feeling of non-resistance, and a feeling of recognizing the one essence, the living consciousness of the universe. Yeah, that divine life force. The thing that grows your hair, that grows your nails, that spins the earth, that makes the sun come up. The suspended person is on a vision quest from which she is gaining the vision to open up to the unity of the cosmos. Usual thinking must be reversed. This involves moving from escapism to inspiration. She sees her place in the ever-changing ocean of life and sees that what she does in her small realm of life is a part of the flow and motion of the great divine sea. So you're a big part of this huge tapestry of things. You're important, okay? Whether you may feel like, wow, when I think about I'm just a speck of dust, they may seem inconsequential, but all these specks of dust come together to form the whole. She realizes that from a state of relaxation, she can be of service to herself and others without the ego stepping in, needing praise and approval. She is learning to trust in the wisdom of the world, that there is a conscious, wise presence in and amongst all. So the sea vegetable kelp is nourishing, cleansing, and decongesting to the system. There's a definite, theme here on decongesting the body. The minerals and essentially the iodine in sea kelp connect us to the divine source of our physical and spiritual existence. When kelp is ingested, it pervades the whole system, just as a suspended person is realizing that the unity of the divine life force is all pervasive throughout the universe. Kelp's emollient, softening qualities will metaphorically help to soften the fixed viewpoints and rigidity that the suspended person may have. A deeper feeling and harmonizing quality will be embraced in the basic living process. The basic living process, like just breathing. Kelp soothes irritated throat and mucous membranes, soothes coughs, dissolves firm masses such as tumors, treats, and by the way, tumors are essentially mucus, and mucus is caused by irritation. So when you're irritated emotionally, when you're irritated, you're creating inflammation in your body, that's your body like, basically, I got to put this irritation somewhere. So move it out of you. Move it out of you. It treats enlarged thyroid and swollen and painful testes and reduces edema. Kelp can be soaked and cooked in soups. I've had some kelp soup. It is pretty much like eating seaweed. When you go to a Chinese restaurant and they have the hot and sour soup, that's kind of like, I'm guessing, well, traditional seaweed is pretty much, it has a very fishy taste to it. But kelp can be soaked and cooked in soups or with beans or rolled in Japanese sushi dishes. For those who are not familiar with cooking sea vegetables, kelp tablets can be taken with each meal. The key words, faith, reversal of thinking. I like that, reversal of thinking. Maybe what you've been doing hasn't been working and it's okay to stop horses in midstream and turn around. Heart above your head, escapism or inspiration, letting go, spiritual breakthrough, looking at things from another viewpoint, your need to relax, kind of be dreamy a little bit. The affirmation, my heart is a fountain of peace. I bathe myself in divine love. So, that's for Shelley. And now I'm going to tap into the animal cards. And I wanted to talk about owl. I think I talked about owl last week. I might have mentioned it. No, last week we weren't here. But the week before, I think I talked about owl a little bit. But then I had a storm, and that storm knocked out my internet. That was crazy, huh? You're welcome, Shelley. You have a great week as well. It's going to be an intense week for us, but that's okay. We got this. We have many anchoring habits. And I want to find owl first, so we can talk about owl's energy. I feel like owl is sort of our animal messenger for this week. Inner knowledge. He's all about inner knowledge. Jude. I'm sure it's like the last card in here. Third to the last card. Ooh. Okay. So I'm going to set Owl aside because I wanted to talk about him. And then now I'm going to pull a card for Bridget, Krista, and Bethany. This one's for Bridget. This one's for Krista. This one's for Bethany. Okay, so let's talk about owl first. As I mentioned in one of my shamanic journeys this week, I had this vision of owl coming in and pecking my eyes out, and yeah, owls and snake. Yes, they've been speaking to me too, Karen. We need to shed some old skin to get to some inner knowledge. I think that's what they're telling us. 121. So, owl, magic, omens, time and space. Does the truth emerge? Casting out deception, silent flight, sacred medicine bird. One thing about owl, like if there's any kind of deception in your life, it basically is a bullshit-o-meter. It's like if you have owl medicine in your life, you're pretty much like, no, that's not true. Or where you're deceiving yourself, you just can't fool yourself anymore. If someone is bullshitting themselves in your presence, you just can't deal with it. Like you're going to point it out. That may be a source of confrontation for you this week. Owl medicine is symbolically associated with clairvoyance, astral projection, and magic, both black and white. Owl is called night eagle on several medicine wheels used by the Amerindian teachers. Traditionally, owl sits in the east, the place of illumination, the place of the void, where the mysteries of the universe come from. So, since time immemorial, humanity has been afraid of the night, the dark, and the unseen. Owl's all about like getting to know your shadow self, your uncomfortable truths, and to see it all with inner wisdom. Okay. Since time immemorial, humanity has been afraid of the night, the dark, and the unseen, waiting fearfully for the first crack of morning light. Conversely, night is owl's friend. Owl hunts its prey at night. Not only can owl see in the dark, it can also accurately pinpoint and identify any sound. And you're bullshit. That's why it's the bullshit emitter. This gives it a great advantage when seeking food. Owls are the night hunters. Some native people are fearful of owl and call its feathers deceiver feathers. Some may consider owl the omen of death. I look at it symbolically like maybe the death of deception, the death of untruths in your life, okay? And a lot of people fear that. People who need to uphold untruths or perceptions that may or may not be based in truth, they fear what's underneath. It has a lot to do with, maybe narcissists in your life who, if they uncover any, that fake facade, they fear it's this great, vast, emptiness in there. And so for them to uncover that truth it induces fear. So some people who are in the habit of deceiving the self, the owl is huge in their presence. It's there. It's the shadow of them because it's ever present in them. Like nobody can ever find out the truth about me. An owl feather is silent. You cannot hear owl when it flies, but its prey definitely knows when it strikes, for its beak and talons are razor sharp. Owl is oftentimes the medicine of sorcerers and witches. If owl is your medicine, you will be drawn to magical practices and perhaps explore the dark arts. You should resist any temptation to practice black magic or any art that takes energy away from another person or being. It's a reminder to keep what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours. If you have owl medicine, these night birds will have a tendency to collect around you even in the daytime because they recognize a kinship with you. Sometimes if people don't understand you or they think that you're somebody who will point out uncomfortable truths to them, then they may avoid you. They may fear you because you can see through them and their BS. That's where the fear of the owl comes from. Somebody will find me out. You're somebody who can see right through me and all of my stories that I'm telling myself and others. Is it any wonder that in many cultures, owl is a symbol for wisdom? You kind of know stuff that other people don't want you to know. um, this is because Owl can see that which others cannot, which is the essence of true wisdom. Where others are deceived, Owl sees and knows what is there. Athena, the Greek goddess of wisdom, had a companion owl on her shoulder which revealed unseen truths to her. Owl had the ability to light up Athena's blind side, enabling her to speak the whole truth, as opposed to only a half-truth. Some people just know right away, like it's a gut feeling, like, you know, I'm being lied to and I don't like it, or you're full of shit and you're trying to convince me that what you're saying is true. If you're one of those people, owl medicine is strong for you, okay? If owl is in your personal medicine, no one can deceive you exactly about what they are doing, no matter how they try to disguise or hide it from you. You may be a little frightening to be around because so many people have ulterior motives, which you see right through, and they don't want you to know that. This was hard for me to understand until I went through working in the jail and starting in law enforcement. I think I was very naive up until I was about 30 years old. I don't know how I lived that long on the earth and not been aware that not everybody is as kind-hearted and loving as, you know, I was. I just thought everybody was like that. Owl medicine lets you be wise, streetwise, okay? Be aware of other people's motives and protect yourself, okay? If you're unaware of your medicine power, you may take your keen insights and abilities for granted. Others never do. You may frighten them and reflect their blindness, for you cannot be fooled. Most people do not want you around if you're going to point out, you know, ruin it for them. You're going to pull back the Wizard of Oz curtain and get rid of the facade or the illusion. Owl medicine people know more about an individual's inner life than that person knows about herself or himself. I find this to be true. If you have pulled the owl card, you are being asked to use your powers of keen, silent observation to intuit some life situation. That's why I think owl was there to peck my eyes out. Like, stop being judgmental and, you know, just see it for what it is. Okay? Owls befriending you and aiding you and seeing the total truth. This is important for all of us to use some owl medicine this week when we're looking at our own crap. Like, where am I fooling myself? I gotta destroy the ego right now. And like, maybe I am controlling. Maybe I am XYZ, whatever. Or, you know what? Maybe I am being a jerk because I'm thinking this way or holding on to this resentment. Like, who am I? You know, like literally break down the ego and come to some uncomfortable truths. Owl will let you do that, okay? Owl can bring you messages in the night through dreams or meditation or shamanic journeying. Pay attention to the signals and omens. The truth always brings further enlightenment. Don't be afraid of the truth, okay? Don't be afraid of the truth. The truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off, okay? Yeah, Megan, you can get a card. You want an animal card or an herbal card? Let us know. All right, so that's kind of like the energy we're going into. Now this one's for Bridget. Oh, we talked about this. One of my favorites. I don't know why. One of my, I think, spiritual talents is being able to be brutally honest with myself. You know, you were totally being an asshole there. Okay, go eat some crow and go tell somebody you're sorry. Or, you know, after I had a big blow up with my guy this weekend, I messaged my ex-husband and I was like, look, I realize that most of what I put you through and I blamed you for was all me. And he sends back a message, have you been drinking? So this is what this card represents, the wild boar, okay? And this is for Bridget, okay? That wild boar doesn't sound fun at first, but it's really like some of that hard medicine heals us the most, okay? Wild boar, wild boar. 229. Wild boar teaches us to confront without fear, ripping apart the denials and the lies that appear. Testing courage, finding truth in its medicine will remain a part of every human path, marking the victories we attain. And of course, didn't we talk about confrontation? I think it was the, not the Eight of Cups, it was Nine of Wands. We're going to have some confrontation. Wild boar is going to help you through that confrontation. Could be confrontation with yourself. I got to face some truths, and I don't like it. But get to the other side of it, and you're going to feel like 1,000 times lighter, okay? Although the warrior was accustomed to the sultry heat of his bayou homeland, he was shaking as if from a cold draft. The councils of elders had caught him telling a lie. You know, owl, wild boar, I see a theme here. The punishment for this offense was banishment from the tribe. To restore. And by the way, if someone shows up with owl medicine and they point out something to you, thank them, okay? Like, you may be at first like offended that they're pointing out, hey, you know what, you are really controlling, or whatever story it is. Like, the worst thing in the world for me was like if somebody told me I was lazy. You know, if someone tells me I'm lazy, like, how dare you? But look at why you think that that's the worst thing in the world, or why it's such an uncomfortable truth. Just honor them. Thank them for this important data. You can take it or leave it. If you really feel like they're not telling the truth, if they're full of shit, that's what the owl medicine's for as well. But if you really think, you know what, maybe they're true. Maybe they're saying the truth here. Maybe they're speaking some truth. Wild boar will help you through that, okay? To restore his honor among the people, he would have to face the wild boar with a knife as his only weapon. If he failed, he would die, torn apart by the ravaging tusks of the fiery-eyed beast. This prospect filled him with dread. Then the spirit of the wild boar came to him in a dream. It was enraged that the young man had broken his warrior's vows by lying. It told him that he would first have to face and conquer the self-important and deceitful beast within him, if he hoped to survive their combat. The young warrior vowed to honor the truth from that moment forward. He faced the wild boar that day and killed the beast. The warrior kept the tusk of his adversary as a lifelong reminder to always confront the weaknesses within himself. There are several varieties of boar, and this powerful medicine of the warrior clans applies to all of them. The Maya called boar javelina, and the Choctaws saw the razorback as wild boar. Its medicine teaches us to confront human weaknesses and to change them into strengths. The human spirit is empowered through wild boar's willingness to confront fears, the challenges at hand, and uncomfortable circumstances. Courageously standing tall without running from the situations that life presents is powerful medicine indeed. Okay? If wild boar is charged into your cards today, you're being asked to confront anything or anybody that you have been avoiding. Pay attention. Embrace your warrior nature and find the courage to confront your fears. Or are you being asked to confront a personal weakness or a career challenge? It's time to finish a project that you abandoned thinking it might be too difficult to accomplish. Confront your feelings regarding some situation that makes you nervous or causes discomfort and brings yourself the peace of closure. If you've been procrastinating, wild boar is reminding you to quit avoiding the inevitable. In all cases, it is insisting that you be fully present and mindful of what is happening and why. If you drew this card, you already possess the courage needed to confront all that life offers. Just remember where you hid that courage. Challenges do not simply vanish. Unless you actively embrace your issues, you cannot reclaim your spirit's energy. Half the battle is won through the warrior's willingness to acknowledge and to accept the whole truth at all times. It's okay. This is the time to do it. This is the time to do it, for sure. All right. So, I see Marnetta, you joined us, and are you asking for a card as well? Let me know. This card is for Krista. And that wild boar was for Bridget. I think I had this one last week too. Number 9. One of my favorites. One of a really important, you're welcome, Bridget. One of the really important animal messengers I had was the butterfly. A lot of winged creatures are great messengers for me. Dragonfly, butterfly. Mariposa energy is really all about transformation. Butterfly that flutters in the morning light, you have known many forms before you ever took flight. The power the butterfly brings to us is akin to the air. It is the mind and the ability to know the mind or to change it. It is the art of transformation. To use butterfly medicine, you must astutely observe your position in the cycle of self-transformation. Like butterfly, you're always at a certain stage in your life activities. Okay, not everybody is in the big, brilliant butterfly stage. And by the way, before a butterfly becomes a butterfly, they are a larva or a caterpillar, and caterpillars are the most destructive things on life, on this earth. Like, they eat like pounds and pounds of leaves. I think in particular the monarch butterfly, the only thing they eat are milk thistle leaves or something like that, and that's why they're endangered, because those plants aren't growing as much anymore. Plus, things like Roundup are killing them. But before you transform into this gorgeous creature, you are this like consumptive creature that like just lives to consume, and it just doesn't understand. Like, it's almost like impulsively just eating, and then at some point it knows, I need to go within. So you may be taking in a lot of data right now, and you don't know why. But the other thing that's coming up is, if you're messy in the middle, you're probably in the cocoon right now. So if your life feels disastrous or whatever, and you're like, why aren't I this beautiful butterfly? Where are you in the self-transformation stage? If you're in the cocoon, of course it's messy. You're still in that relying on instinct, being still, letting yourself grow, like cocooning yourself. And so it's really important to just recognize what stage of transformation you're in. And you're going to go through this cycle a lot, becoming the consumer, going within, transforming to becoming the beautiful butterfly, okay? And butterflies live as a butterfly a lot shorter than they do as a caterpillar. So to use butterfly medicine, you must astutely observe your position in the cycle of self-transformation. Like butterfly, you're always at a certain station in your life activities. Again, there's that Uranus and Taurus energy of, I thought I was through this shit already. You're going through another self-transformation cycle, okay? So just bear with it. You may be at the egg stage, which is the beginning of all things. This is the stage at which an idea is born but has not yet become a reality. The larva stage is the point at which you decide to create the idea in the physical world. The cocoon stage involves going within, doing or developing the project, idea, or aspect of personality. The final stage of transformation is the leaving of the chrysalis and birth. The last step involves sharing the colors and joy of your creation with the world. And you're going to do this process over and over and over again, okay? So it's not just like, oh, I'm one and done. If you look closely at what butterfly is trying to teach, you will realize that it is the never-ending cycle of self-transformation. The way to discern where you are in this cycle is to ask yourself, 1, is this the egg stage? Is it just a thought or an idea? 2, is it the larva stage? Do I need to make a decision? 3, is this the cocoon stage? Am I developing and doing something to make my idea a reality? 4, is this the birth stage? Am I sharing my completed idea? By asking yourself these questions, you will discover how butterfly is relating to you at this moment. When you understand where you are, this symbol can teach you what to do next to continue in the cycle of transformation. If you have found the position through which you are cycling, you will see the creativity of butterfly. And you'll stop making around, I should be further along than I thought I was, or trying to be really pushy. When you're in the cocoon and you don't know what the hell's going on, it's okay to just sort of allow spirit to carry you, because that's that divine life force. The butterfly just knows, like when it's a caterpillar, I just need to go within, and I'm going to let spirit carry me through this until I transform into this beautiful being. And the other thing too, don't compare yourself when you're in the cocoon to somebody else's butterfly stage, all right? I know there's other analogies for that, like don't let your final, somebody else's final chapter compare your middle chapter to their final chapter. If you're in a different stage, you're in a different stage. Just recognize where you're at. Using the air or mental powers of this medicine is done with ease. As an example, if you've been feeling exhausted and have asked how to heal your fatigue, take notice of the colors you've been drawn to recently. Does your body feel better in green? Could this mean that you need to eat more green vegetables? This type of thinking is an inspiration from butterfly medicine. Butterfly can give clarity to your mental process, help you organize the project you're undertaking, and assist you in finding the next step for your personal life or career. The main message to be obtained from drawing the symbol is that you are ready to undergo some type of transformation. To discern what your next move is, use the butterfly spread. All right. Okay, so this next card is for Bethany. And then I'm going to draw 2 more because Megan and Marnetta asked for one. All right, here we go. Mouse, this is for Bethany. If I could see the world through your tiny eyes, maybe then I would know how to scrutinize. Every detail carries weight and, true to its purpose, has its perfect puzzle placed to stop the 3-ring circus. Scrutiny. Mouse says, I will touch everything with my whiskers in order to know it. Paradoxically, this is both a great power and a great weakness. It is a good medicine to see up close. It is good medicine to pay attention to detail. But it is bad medicine to chew every little thing to pieces. Mouse has many predatory enemies, including birds, snakes, and cats. Since mouse is food for many, it has a highly developed sense of danger at every turn. So-called civilization is a highly complex set of components which calls for more and more organizational skills and scrutiny to detail every year. Mouse is a powerful medicine to have in these modern times. Things that might appear insignificant to others take on enormous importance to mouse. So, mouse people anger many other medicine types because they appear to be nitpickers. Mouse people will spot the lint on your coat even if it matches in color. They will try to convince you that the simplest task is fraught with difficulty. They are fixated on methodology. They sort and categorize and file away for later use. They may seem like they are hoarding, but this is the farthest thing from mouse's mind. They are merely putting everything in order so that they will be able to explore it more carefully at a later date. The chiefs tell us that without mouse, there would be no systemization of knowledge. Mouse ended Renaissance man and hearkened the age of specialization. Mouse knew from the very beginning that there is always more to learn. One can always delve deeper and deeper and deeper. If your personal medicine is mouse, you may be fearful of life, but very well organized with a compartment for everything. You should try to see a larger picture than the one staring you in the face. Develop largesse of spirit. Try to become aware of the great dance of life. Realize that even though you may be sitting in Los Angeles, there is also a New York, a moon, a solar system, a galaxy, and an infinite universe. Jump high, little friend. You will glimpse the sacred mountain. Don't get caught up in minutia. Look at the big picture. If mouse is your card spread, its medicine is telling you to scrutinize. Look at yourself and others carefully. And do so also. Funny that owl eats mice all the time. Your truth will will be eaten up, will eat up any deception you have of yourself, okay? Look at yourself and others carefully. Maybe that big hunk of cheese is sitting on a trigger that will spring a deadly trap. Maybe the cat is in the pantry waiting for you. Maybe someone to whom you have delegated authority, such as a doctor, a lawyer, or even a plumber, is not doing the job faithfully. The message is to see what is right before your eyes and to take action accordingly. So, mouse, I feel, is interacting with owl quite well. If you have tendencies to put yourself in a position where somebody can maybe take advantage of you, owl is telling you, oh, this, quote, weakness, and scrutinize it. That's what mouse is asking you to do. Be aware of it. How am I putting myself out there? And really pay attention to it. And that you don't necessarily have to always overthink things. So that's it for, I really feel like mouse is completely in conjunction with owl medicine this week. There's a dance there for you. You're going to be going through a little bit of a dance. How am I putting myself out there? How am I not being real with myself about the energy that I'm putting out? But there's lots of good wisdom for you. There's a lot of cheese in there, so let it give you the good data, okay? That was for Bethany. Ooh. For Megan. I'm writing this down. I'm going to take a real quick drink of water. For Megan, the Swan. All about grace. Swan, the power of woman entering sacred space, touching future yet to come, bringing eternal grace. Little Swan flew through the dream time looking for the future. She rested for a moment in the coolness of the pond, looking for a way to find the entry point to the future. This was a moment of confusion for Swan, as she knew that she had happened into the Dreamtime by accident. This was her first flight alone, and she was a bit concerned by the Dreamtime landscape. As Swan looked high above Sacred Mountain, she saw the biggest swirling black hole she'd ever seen. Dragonfly came flying by, and Swan stopped him to ask about the black hole. Dragonfly said, "Swan, that is the doorway to the other planes of imagination. I have been guardian of the illusion for many, many moons. If you want to enter there, you will have to ask permission and earn the right." Swan was not so sure that she wanted to enter the black hole. She asked Dragonfly what was necessary for her to earn entry. Dragonfly replied, "You must be willing to accept whatever the future holds as it is presented, without trying to change Great Spirit's plan." There's a little bit of surrender in here, okay? Swan looked at her ugly little duckling body and then answered, "I will be happy to abide by Great Spirit's plan. I won't fight the currents of the black hole. I will surrender to the flow of the spiral and trust what I am shown." Dragonfly was very happy with Swan's answer and began to spin the magic to break the pond's illusion. Again, there's some interaction with owl energy this week. You're breaking illusions with other people, and owl energy will make you more perceptive of those illusions, okay? Suddenly, Swan was engulfed by a whirlpool in the center of the pond. Swan reappeared many days later, but now she was graceful and white and long-necked. Dragonfly was stunned. "Swan, what happened to you?" he exclaimed. Swan smiled and said, "Dragonfly, I learned to surrender my body to the power of Great Spirit and was taken to where the future lives. I saw many wonders high on Sacred Mountain, and because of my faith and my acceptance, I have been changed." I think there is some internal transformation that has to do with really essentially having faith and acceptance to, move forward and allow yourself to be something different. Dragonfly was very happy for Swan. Swan told Dragonfly many of the wonders beyond the illusion. Through her healing and her acceptance of the state of grace, she was given the right to enter the dream time. So it is that we learn to surrender to the grace of the rhythm of the universe and slip from our physical bodies into the dream time. Swan medicine teaches us to be at one with all the planes of consciousness and to trust in Great Spirit's protection. There is definitely an element of surrender and allowing going on here for Swan. If you pulled Swan, it ushers in a time of altered states of awareness and of development of your intuitive abilities. Swan medicine people have the ability to see the future, to surrender to the power of the Great Spirit, and to accept the healing and transformation of their lives. You probably have some knowledge here that you're unaware of, and you need to allow it to come to your current consciousness and get it out. The Swan card is telling you to accept your ability to know what lies ahead. If you're resisting your self-transformation, relax. It will be easier if you go with the flow. Stop denying that you know who is calling when the phone rings. Pay attention to your hunches and your gut knowledge and honor your female intuitive side. Yes. Sometimes you may know stuff that you don't want to admit you know. It's funny. I thought, Bethany, that you got mouse last time. There's something there for you. Like, it's time to scrutinize a few things. And with owl's energy, Marinetta. We got the hummingbird. We talked about hummingbird being high energy, the nectar of the universe, or how to drink the nectar of the universe. It's all about joy. Hummingbird is all about joy, your personal joy. Hummingbird, joyful little sister, nectar you crave, all the sweetness of the flowers is the love you gave. Hummingbird is associated with the ghost shirt religion, which taught that a certain dance done properly would bring about the return of the animals and that white people would disappear. Once again, the original people would know the joy of the old ways. In Mayan teachings, Hummingbird is connected to the black sun in the fifth world. Hummingbird can give us the medicine to solve the riddle of the contradiction of duality. The song of Hummingbird awakens the medicine flowers. Hummer sings a vibration of pure joy. Flowers love Hummingbird because nectar sucking brings about the reproduction of their families. Plants flower and live because of Hummingbird. Hummingbird can fly in any direction, up, down, backward, and forward. Hummingbird can also hover in one spot and appear to be motionless. Great Spirit created Hummingbird to be slightly different from other feathered creatures. Because of their magical qualities, hummingbird feathers have been used for a millennium in the making of love charms. It is said the hummingbird conjures love as no other medicine does. Maybe you have some love coming in your life, or you're opening up to deeper love. It is said that hummingbird conjures love as no other medicine does, and that hummingbird feathers open the heart. Without an open and loving heart, you can never taste the nectar and pure bliss of life. It's not just romantic love, like love of existence, love of just being, okay? To brother and sister hummingbird, life is a wonderland of delight, darting from one beautiful flower to another, tasting the essences and radiating the colors. If hummingbird is your personal medicine, you love life and its joys. Your presence brings joy to others. You join people together in relationships which bring out the best in them. You know instinctively where beauty abides, and near or far, you journey to your ideal. You move comfortably within a beautiful environment and help others taste the succulent nectar of life. Hummingbird holds the bough of beauty, which is delicately inlaid with gold and silver flowers, pearls, and precious jewels. Hummingbird disdains ugliness or harshness, and quickly flies away from discord or disharmony. If Hummingbird is flown into your cards, get ready to laugh musically and enjoy Creator's many gifts. Drop your judgmental attitude and relax. Hummingbird will no doubt give you a flash of the spirit, darting here, there, and everywhere. Get ready for a strange new burst of energy which may send your senses reeling. Hummingbird hears celestial music and is in harmony with it. Hummingbird may invite you to an art museum or a concert. Hummingbird energetically embraces the highest aesthetics. Never be coarse in front of Hummingbird, for this is a fragile medicine which may have no understanding of worldly affairs. Beauty is the target, and Hummingbird's mission is to spread joy or to be destroyed. Hummingbird quickly dies if caged, caught, or imprisoned. Follow Sister Hummingbird, and you will soon be filled with paroxysms of joy and experience a renewal of the magic of living. I think that definitely there's a call for you to increase your just joy of being right now. That, you know, maybe it's something new for you or an expansion of it, but that's definitely a message for you. So, wonderful. Okay, yes, I'm happy you have pure joy right now. That's beautiful. Thank you, everybody who joined and stayed with me. We're almost at 2 hours today. Thank you for being here. And I think all the four winds, all the directions, the Great Spirit, and all of our spirit guides, thank you so much for being here with us. And I'll be here next week. Thanks for joining. Bye for now. Love you. Mwah.